All right, my friend. So Roxanne writes in. She asks about the pension versus a lump sum. Her question is: I understand the formula to decide if you should take a lump sum pension or a monthly payout, but what about this scenario? And again, the formula is just simply taking your annual payout, divide that into the amount of the lump sum. So, for simplicity, why do I not have the thing? I gotta keep using my T-shirt. For simplicity, you say you got two. I don't know. We're gonna say $8,000 a year for a payout. Well, you take 250,000 would be your lump sum. Divide that into $8,000, and that will give you your payout ratio. So here's your lump sum. You're going to divide that into 8,000, and that will be your payout ratio. Generally speaking, 7% is kind of what we're looking for. So 8,000 divided by 250,000. That's a 3.2% payout ratio. I just literally pulled that out of the air. So that's not what she said. But if you only have a 3.2% payout ratio on a pension, that's not, you take the lump sum. If you had a 6.5% payout ratio, I'd probably take the pension, frankly. All right, but anyway, so let's go back to the shoes. But what about this scenario? The monthly payout is determined to be favorable. Could you add an extra step into the equation, being the taxes you pay on the pension? Thinking about taking the lump sum to avoid taxes on the pension, but it'd be nice to see the numbers work out. All right. Well, you can't get away from the taxes on either side, Roxanne. I mean, you're going to pay the tax on the pension from a monthly payout, or you're going to pay the taxes on rolling it over to an IRA and then taking it out through just mandatory distributions or just your own distributions. You're not avoiding the taxes. All right, just be advised. You're paying them, one way or the other. So you have a lump sum of $250,000. You can take that out as a monthly payment through a pension, or you can roll that 250,000 to an IRA and take it however you want. But either way, it's paying taxes. So in that case, it's going to be I don't know if I'd say a wash necessarily, but I mean, either way, you're paying the taxes ordinary income. So I mean, depending on what your future tax rates are, depending on lots of considerations in there. But at the end of the day, that amount of money is still going to be subject to income tax. So it's really, I wouldn't waste any time to comparing those two options, if that makes sense. Hope this makes sense. Thanks. Now, Bryce asks a lot going on here, but he asks about getting an annuity to tie him over while he's delaying Social Security. Let's see. I will probably end up with an amount. Okay, hold on a second. Am I understanding correctly that I can get an annuity for just a 10-year payout to fill the gap between the time he retires and when he takes Social Security? Yes, you can. I don't see any benefit of that at all, frankly. I don't just create your own annuity let's just say. So the question is, look, I'm 62. I'm not going to take Social Security until I'm 70 because I want to get the delayed earnings credits and whatnot, and get my full PIA plus the 8% delayed earnings credits. In the interim, I need some money. All right, so I'm going to take a fixed annuity, a fixed income annuity is what I'm saying here, fixed income annuity for a 10-year period certain. That way I can maximize my benefit. It's not worth it, Bruce. Excuse me, it's not worth it. Why? Because you just lock up the money to get essentially going to get a little bit your own money back plus a tiny slither of upside. Just throw in the Ginnie Mae fund, man, and be done with it. I don't. There's no reason to do a 10-year period certain annuity, none whatsoever. I should probably just done this a separate video actually, but I'll just keep going here. Anyway, do you see the need for? Okay, so don't do that. Just put in the Ginnie Mae or put into intermediate term bond fund, something like that. But just don't lock up your money for a 10-year annuity. It's not beneficial at all. Let's see. Do you see any need for me to even think about a fixed index annuity? I don't like fixed index annuities. I just don't. The idea that you get the lion's share of the market with downside risk protection, it's fake news on the very front end. It's fake news because they have these things called participation rates, cap rates, and then they don't use dividends either. So you're not getting stock-like returns with downside risk protection. You're just not. So make up your mind. Do you want to go bonds or you want to go stocks, or split the difference is fine. But stop paying the insurance company to do that for you, because you're literally getting the worst of both worlds. You're not getting the stock-like upside. And while you are getting protection, you're getting protection for the most part in bonds too, with a whole lot less cost. So just without tying up your money, just don't mess with fixed index annuities. My investments will probably be in a 60-40 balance account. Sure hope I'm doing this in a few years so you can hire me to do a financial plan. Right on, Bruce. Okay, so I hope that helps, but don't do a 10-year period certain annuity. It doesn't make any sense at all. All right, thanks now. Sean is getting ready to retire from the infantry after 31 years. Kudos, my friend. He's not a drunken infantryman. A good question for all you TSP folks out there. Essentially, he's thinking about rolling a lot of his TSP money. He has in a couple different accounts to his own individual account, i.e. an IRA. In this case, it's his own individual 401k. Good move, man. But he says, hey, but my question is, should I leave some of the TSP to draw down and roll the rest into his other retirement account? I plan not to have to draw this money, but I want the contingency plan just in case. Yeah, absolutely, man. I tell you that I would put it in the G fund. Actually, what is the G fund doing now? Hold on just a second. I love the G fund. A huge fan of the G fund. So you leave the TSP, a portion of it, in the G fund. So we go to tsp.gov. And what did the G fund do last year? I bet it did pretty well, actually. So let's go to tsp.gov, and we're going to go to fund performance right there. And let's see what it did. I bet the G fund did well last year. So there's the G fund up. Let's see. They don't have 2019 yet. Oh yeah, here we go. Well, I guess it didn't do that well. 2.24. So it didn't do great, but I'm surprised by that. Actually, let's look. The G fund only did 2.24 last year. I would have thought it would have done better, but it is a short-term guaranteed fund, so that doesn't bother me. F fund last year did 8.66. C fund did 31.45, S fund did 27, I fund did 22, and the life cycle funds did what they did according to their asset allocation mix. So anyway, the G fund did 2.24, but the best thing about the G fund is guaranteed. It'll never lose money, which is why I like it. So I'm a huge fan of keeping some money in the G fund for sure, Sean. Just as a liquid need for when you need it, for sure. So hope this helps. Thanks now. Matt writes in, again, another lump sum versus pension question, but from a little bit of a different angle. He says if he takes the pension payment from his lump sum, he'll have 28% of his income come from the annuity, retirement income, 47% from Social Security, and 25% from an investable IRA, so invested in the markets and whatnot. If he takes a lump sum, though, 51% will come from the IRA because the lump sum he rolls it over, and 49% from Social Security. He says he feels better about spreading the income over 3 different sources. What do I think? I completely agree, man. He asked how safe are annuities. He's saying annuities in light of the pension, using those synonymously. Look, man, I 100% agree with your assessment there, Matt. I think having 3 different income, like they say on YouTube, you want 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different streams of income. I completely agree with that. And the same thing would happen to you. I'm not worried about the safety of pensions for, just don't take this wrong, but lower income annuitants. I just not, or pensioners, if you want to use that. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about Social Security. If I was, rich guy making, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year on a pension, I probably would be a little bit worried for sure. A month on a pension, maybe even maybe $10,000, $15,000. Well, some of those guys in California making $15,000 a year on a pension, I would be worried about that because that's unsustainable for sure, and they should get a cutback. I got no qualm with that whatsoever. I mean, there's no way. Just no way a pension should be on the hook for $15,000 from the taxpayer for $15,000 a month. That's nuts. But for your pension would give you $1,700 a month life, or $1,650 for 100% joint survivor. By the way, take the joint survivor, man. Do not take the life. So $1,650 a month. You're not. There's nothing to worry about. Look, could there something be? Josh, you don't understand. Yes, there's always something to worry about. It's just, man, my goodness, there's so many other things to worry about. Don't worry about this stuff. So I would absolutely take the pension. Make sure your IRA is invested aggressively, though, because if you got the pension and Social Security, there's no reason to have bonds in your IRA. Yeah, I hope this helps. Thanks. So Brian writes in, asks about Social Security calculations. If I take my Social Security earnings and then use the index earnings, my numbers come out slightly higher than the Social Security website. Which one would be most likely to be correct? The issue here is I guarantee you're not adjusting for the maximum. All right, so Social Security, there's only a max that they'll calculate. So let's just use this for example. Say I don't know, you made $200,000 in 1986. I'm just using that for an example. You can't put $200,000 in your indexed earnings because a lot of that is beyond the max calculation. So if your numbers are coming up higher, Brian, it's because you haven't adjusted it downwards to recognize the maximum amount that Social Security will use. You got to keep that in mind. So if the max index earnings are literally the maximum taxes that you paid for Social Security benefits. So if your earnings are higher than that, you're overstating your benefits for sure. So just keep that in mind. How do you do that? You literally look at what the max earnings were. You got to look at the Social Security website. It's okay. It will show you right there on the max earnings that this is the maximum amount that you could have earned adjusted for inflated or indexing. If yours are showing up more than that, you've got to reduce it according to what Social Security says is the maximum that you had. I hope that makes sense. And if I start making substantially less money from now on and I have 35 years, will that reduce my Social Security earnings? From your videos, I get that I can't understand that. From your earnings, I get that it will not affect my Social Security. I don't know. I don't know if it'll affect your Social Security benefits. I just don't know. I'm not sure what he's asking there. Okay, but then he says one more thing is that your best 35 years, they don't need to be consecutive. Is this correct? Absolutely, man. No, they don't need to be consecutive at all. I mean, hell, you could be, let's use a basketball player. All right, so say Tom Brady. All right, so Tom Brady made, obviously the max earnings from when he's 22 till he's 47 or something like that. However old he is, that's 25 years, and now he's going to as a freaking loading trucks for FedEx, making $15 an hour, so that they don't have to be your max. So it literally, it's not consecutive. It doesn't matter for what year you made the money. It just matters that you made the money is indexed with inflation to the max that Social Security does, and you're fine. So I don't know if again, if you made good money as a youngster in the last 10 years, you're like, I'm just going to chill. You're probably going to be okay. It's probably not going to have any detriment effect on your benefits at all. I'm just telling you, it probably won't. Now, I don't know for sure, but yeah, man, I wouldn't sweat it too much. I mean, you just got to crunch the numbers. But look at what the Social Security website says and say, look, what if I make no dollars ever again? There's a calculation on there. It'll show you. It's really easy to figure out. So I encourage you to do that. Sounds like you got a good gauge of the website. So keep at it, man. All right. Hope this helps. As always, folks, if you have questions for me, send them down. I'll try to do this on a couple times a week. Just just boom, boom, boom. All right. The shotgun approach. We'll see you.